All right, so I'm looking directly into the sun here, but I wanted you to see what's on the back of the trailer. So I put a call out on Facebook that I was looking for another tractor to work on, second build for the channel. And a customer of mine from years back sent a message out, said, hey, I got one. Sitting in the yard, hasn't run in years, but pretty sure if you put some gas in it and then you put a booster pack on it, it might run. He wasn't lying. I went over to his house with my daughter and we put a boost pack on the battery and we put a little bit of fuel in it, and fuel bowl just started leaking everywhere. So took it off, put it back on, tapped it a couple times, thing fired right up. It's a Lowe's and it's a 12.5 horse, 38-inch cut. Of course, we don't care about 38-inch cut. It's coming off. But this is one of the tractors that should have much easier axle flip. Turn it around, flip it over. Much easier to lower it. I think we're going to lower it. I might look at putting some smaller tires on the back and get kind of that go-kart stance with the same size tire on the front and the back. I don't know. We're going to play with it a little bit. And next time I set up, I'm really not going to go looking directly into the sun.
How close to the sun can a man fly before he...
All right, let's walk around this thing, soak it in, see what we got. Hey, it was free. It runs, it drives. Not very fast. All four tires are flat. Mower deck engages. She's got no acceleration there's just no revving of the engine. I think the governor's stuck something. I've got to look into that a little bit. It's a 12.5. Well, here, let me turn you around. Take a look. .5 horse, Briggs & Stratton. Got a fuel tank up here with zip ties on it. That looks like something I might have done. We got the big old clunky headlight on it. We got a solid front beam axle there. I don't believe there's any pivot in that at all. Exhaust outside. It's a 7-speed. Let's rip into it, see what we got. 5 miles per hour, top speed. It's going slightly downhill at the time, slightly. It's so slow, it's got moss growing on it. It's terrible. The moss has got to go. Add some horsepower. Okay, so let's just do a couple really quick things. All four tires are flat. Let's inflate those to the proper pressure. Let's get the heavy weight of the mower deck off of this thing. Let's add a little bit more gas in it because it was stumbling a little bit. I don't know if I just don't have any gas in it. Let's pull a couple things off this tractor that don't need to be there. The gentleman who gave this to me for free, his last name is Nines. So this tractor, in honor of him, will be badged number 99. All right, got to be honest with you, I've never played with tractors before. Trying to get speed up, do different things with them. So taking the mower deck off, inflating the tires, playing a little bit with the accelerator cable. Did it make improvement? Yep, it did. Was it huge? No, it was not. I went from 5 miles an hour to 7 miles an hour. I gained 2 miles per hour. But I really think that something down here in the 7-speed selector is not selecting. It just, the thing just flops around in there. It seems to me like if I'm shifting gears, there should be a little bit of resistance from gear to gear. I should hear some clicking. I should hear something. Now, mind you, if I put in first gear, it is slower than 7th gear. But I'd go from 5 miles an hour to 7 miles an hour. It's not a huge difference. So I'm gonna have to dig into that. All right, so there's where my gear shifter is. And see what happens when I'm shifting it? It just slides through that channel. I kind of like in the idea of the small tires front and back. I'm just looking, that will lower my back end down just by putting the smaller tires on it. And I think if I do that, then I can take, if I get the battery up front of the seat, I can take the fenders and lower that whole package down just in the clearance I get because the wheels are smaller. Then if I take the suspension of the seat and bring it down, I think, I'm bringing the wheels down about 4 inches, bringing that fender down about 2.5 inches, bringing the seat down 2.5 inches. If I get 8, maybe 9 inches down in the back, I like that. And then if I take the front axle off of here and bring it out front, I can bring, flip it over. I can bring the front end down, get it leveled out that way. So it's not crazy low to the ground, but a much neater stance. You can see where the engine is, how low it is compared to where the top of the hood is. Top of the hood is up where there, and look at how low that engine is. So I think the hood can definitely be taken off and repositioned down lower. And then maybe get the pedestal, the steering pedestal to come down and forward a little bit. All right, it's Sunday afternoon. I'm up here at the shop doing a little bit of work. Another project you're going to see real soon on the channel. 1964 Triumph Spitfire. Been customized. The doors are welded shut. It's one solid tub. It's been all gutted underneath. Everything that was 1964 as far as running gear is gone. What are we replacing it with? Well, this, of course, Mazda Miata. It was a drift car. Pulled it apart, cut and shortened the main member here by 6 inches. The width of the stance here is 8 inches wider than that car, so I'm going to have 4 inches sticking out of the wheel. We're going to do some fender flares on this. We're going to do, this is going to be, this is the project I put on hold to work on the tractors over here so I can get to be a better welder, better painter, better bodyman, better everything. I'm pretty happy with my fabrication. There's a lot of other things I'd like to work on. All right, so I built a work platform over here, and my idea is I've got the Triumph up front. I'm gonna put the Craftsman in the middle here, go to the Lowe's in the middle, and then bring the Craftsman around back and try to put this way here.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, and liftoff.
My idea is I've got another set of wheels. They're the same as these. They look a little wider, they're a little broader, but it's just because they're not pumped up. Put some air in these. I'm thinking about putting these on the back, making them my drive tires. So they've got a round, smooth axle hole in them, all right? And that's designed to go on the front axle. The back axle, there's actually a flat spot on either side of the axle. And what that allows you to do is when you put the wheel on, it locks it onto the spindle, so when the axle turns, you can't just spin inside the rear wheel. Because what I want to do is same size tire front and rear. We'll probably end up going with racing slicks. The go-kart racing slicks are kind of just a cooler looking wheel. We'll probably end up going with those on here. But in the meantime, I just want to lower this bad boy down by doing that. So we're going to go with the smaller wheel on the front. This should give us a little more wheel spin too. On the back end of it, if we want to, do some burnouts, that sort of thing. A little easier for the engine to turn the smaller wheel quicker than it is to turn this big, heavier wheel. So we're going to work on that a little bit. So kind of set it up lower to the ground so it doesn't tip over as easy. I'd like to keep the movement in the front axle back and forth if we can. So I'm going to look at the pivot point of that. But I just don't know how much I'm going to have to drop the front till I drop the rear. So you can see with these tires on here. All right. Yeah, that's going to drop pretty good, decent amount. Right, so I'm letting the seats, end of the axle bolts soak just a little bit. See if we can't get that to come loose. I'm going to go ahead and pull this seat off of here. I'd like to get this metal pan loose and see what we got going on there. getting any of this apparatus out. The brackets that drop down to hold the mower, all that is trapped up underneath. And it looks like the only way to really get inside the frame is to go in this way. So it looks like what I need to do is take off the hood, remove the motor. Try it that way. Alright, so on the bottom of the pulley, well, I don't even know where the bolt went. There's a 5/8 inch bolt up at the bottom of the shaft that held this double pulley on. The pulley's been walloped on before a couple of times. That's not good. So what I like is it's got a shaft with a spline on it. I think I can run down a tractor supply, get that, and then what we're going to do is we're going to get the biggest pulley we can that fits on the front and clears everything. All right, spline it on there. Took the 4 bolts up that hold the motor in. Oh, what's this down here? Disconnected the clutch. Oh. Oh, there we go. Oh, yeah. Engine's up. The fuel filter just came like right apart. There's a pulley guard in here. It'll likely need to unbolt and come out because we're going to need clearance for a much larger pulley than what this currently allows. And then we'll figure out how big a pulley we can get in here. All right, as far as the front axle goes, I'm not exactly sure how this works, but it looks like there's 4 bolts on the top here that come out. This front plate comes off, and it looks like maybe there's a circle in the axle that comes through here, then it goes through the body behind it, and that circle goes all the way through. So I think what happens when I take these 2 bolts off, the front axle, this is going to come off the front, the whole front axle is going to come out. I'm wondering if I can't just take that axle then and flip it upside down to lower the front end of this thing. So I'm going to put a car jack underneath the middle of the frame, the support that goes to both sides, and that's basically to hold up the frame. Yeah, so when I take these bolts out, I don't lose everything. Now, the other thing I think I want to do is undo these tie rod ends, simply because I don't want them to get damaged or bent or twisted or anything else. I'm not sure they're going to be able to stay where they are. We're going to figure that out. But they do look like they've got these little slip collars go around here, and then somehow make that adjustable, put tension on them and hold them. So I'll be back on the Craftsman tomorrow. So for those of you that are worried that it's not going to be a while yet, I'll be back on the Craftsman tomorrow. I've already got 2 videos to edit for it. So my next thing after I finish taking this off is get some editing done. So now what I'm thinking is if I undo this and this, these are 1/2 inches as well. I think this plate is going to pull right out of the front. That's our axle. And I think we can just take the axle off. Yep, we can. And dump all that dirt out of there. And then, wow. That's really going to slam the front end of this thing down to the ground. So let's lower it with the jack here and see what it's going to look like. Maybe we like it. I really thought about going that low with this one, but I don't know. You never know. The way it connects would be nice because it's just going to re-bolt right together the way it was before. So we'll still have clearance up in there for our engine pulley and crankshaft. Get this pulley out of here. We'll still have clearance for everything. And the question is, do we take it too low? And then we got to, after we put the lower end tires in the back, we'll have to raise up the back end to make it fit again. I don't know. So, all right. Yeah, see how it works? Kind of a neat system. It's just going to pivot right on there, and they use the same size in the front and the back, so therefore that will work. Okay, scoot that under there. Now this is going to go above my hood mounts, where before it was under my hood mounts. All right, we're going to find out here real soon if this thing is going to work this way. So this here we'll need to mount in here someplace, and it'll have to have a pivot that it can pull back and in. And I'm probably going to take that one off the bottom that was on the top before, just cut it off and then re-weld it onto the top here and let this connect on. And you can see the height it's at. That's going to still clear the body. It's still going to clear the engine because this didn't move at all. Which is kind of nice. So steering will still be fine. Everything will work that way. They had these bolts through here, and they go into those little channels in the axle that allow the axle to pivot. And these are going to line right back up again, just like they were. And so we're going to have pretty much factory steering back, and front suspension and everything else. And we didn't have to cut, we didn't have to weld, we didn't have to do anything. That was, well, it's the easiest one I've ever done. Also the second one I've ever done. So let's, just for giggles, let's go ahead and throw the tins back on it and see what it looks like from the side. I'll pull some of my tools away from it. Let's just see what this thing looks like. I won't put the engine back in it, but let's check it out. All right, so that's what we're looking at right there. So yes, we're lower in the back. The front nose is definitely down low compared to where it was. It's kind of awesome. We'll have to figure out, we're gonna have some clearance issues here with the hood. So we're probably gonna have to extend the front wheels out as well, which I like because a little wider stance makes it a little bit more stable. But that's what we're looking like. So I think next we take those smaller tires in the back. I think that's gonna lower it about 3 inches, which is maybe bring it level or just bring it where it's got a nice enough rake that I'm happy with the way it sits. Let's try that. All right, I've tried putting the jack between the wheel and the body of the tractor. I'm either gonna bend the axle or I'm gonna dent the side of the frame. I've tried heat, I've tried penetrating 2 different grinds, I've tried everything. I'm not getting anywhere. So I'm gonna take a grinder. I'm actually gonna try to cut around this and just cut this wheel off of here. These rims are cheap. I'm not really concerned about that. I just wanna get off the tractor. a shaft piece that goes up over the axle a little ways, and it looks like it's not a bearing or a bushing or anything else. It just looks like it sits in there, and I think that probably helps keep it from wobbling. I'm sure they put a little grease up in there or something, but it appears that that part, or it doesn't have any grease because it spins together, but it appears that part is where it's stuck together. So I almost have to get the wheel completely off and then slice that casing and pry it off the axle. Now what my thought is if I cut the rim off at the halfway point, back, in the middle, what I'm thinking is cutting it in here, in the middle, and getting this front piece to come off. I think I can get the grinder in a little further. Let's see what happens. It's like working a lathe. See, it's in here. I think that part there is seized on the end of the axle shaft. That's my guess. Unbelievable. Can I get a washer for there that's got that oblong hole in it? I don't know if I can. I'm gonna go check at the hardware store. If they've got that washer, I could weld it on this wheel, and then we could just put that on there like that. No. All right, do we like the look of that? That's where she's gonna sit. The fenders, like I said, are gonna go down and back a little bit more. You can see where they don't line up in the front there. I gotta get that 7-speed shift handle to move. But same size tires on the front and the back. I kind of like the look of that. I think that's cool. It's low. You can see the seat's low. Obviously, this area right in here all needs to drop in the middle of the level the hood out a little bit better because it looks a little, well, it looks a little racy right now. So we get that knocked out. I think that looks pretty good. What I did here is I marked And I went a little bit big with the tape because I'm trying to mimic that rollover. So I want to cut my line here, so I got a little bit of metal just to kind of ease over, just so I don't have a sharp edge there. It'll be up underneath the seat, sitting square on the frame, but just in case it turns out to be a sharp area, I want to have a little bit of relief there to knock it back.
How close to the sun can a man fly before he gets?
We took the axle, we flipped it, put it right back in, the exact same bracketry that came with. Everything just lined up great. We moved the hood down to the exact same hood mounts that were there before. When we close the hood now, you can see it's got a real slope to it. We've got plenty of clearance for the engine. The only way to get that slope out of it is to bring this down. The gas tank that was in there had clearance to here. We could probably bring this thing down 4 inches, still clearance for a gas tank. It's that tall. We'll have to bring the steering shaft down, everything else down, and then what I'd like to do is, this is how low we are to the ground. It's not a dragger. It's not real low, but I do want to take these off, add some plate steel to the bottom of the frame to lower the frame a little bit, the ground effects the sides down a little bit, and then bolt these back onto the sides at the new lower height, just so that I've lowered the seat a lot. My knees are up here in my chin. I want to get my knees down. It means I got to bring my feet down. So footboard's got to come down, and I love that we did the same tires front and back. I'll replace these back ones with new ones. These ones are holding here great, but these ones, they're shot. So I'll take these off the rim, and I'll pick up some new tires for there. We'll go ahead and put a couple new tires on here. We'll do the same ones we got up here, get them inflated so everything matches. They look right, and tell you what, we're gonna have a bit of a ripper here.